You can put your hands together for Luis Navarro. Come in. I also want to bring up Brian from Seachem as well.
Hello. Be careful, I'm very shy.
So this is going to be a bit different to usual workshops because we're going to talk a little bit about Seachem, and then Luis is going to work his magic on this beautiful 90p. So what I'll do is I'll pass you over to Brian and he can talk Seachem.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everybody at Horizon Aquatics. And thank you, everyone, for coming on this snowy day. It's from the bottom of our hearts at Seachem. We're a family-owned company in Georgia, in the States. And everyone here, it's a delight, and it's very, very special. I'll touch on some of the products briefly, because Luis is the rock star and the aquascaping is the cool part. But we have a full range of aquarium products. These are all pulled off the working carts here right at Horizon. Flourish is our comprehensive supplement, vitamins, amino acids, macros, micros. Next, we'll move to Flourish Iron. If you have a lot of iron consumption in your aquarium, and of course iron is always uptaken at a much faster rate than your organics, you can alternate on a daily dose with Flourish, an alternating day Flourish Iron, and you can keep a good feed to that higher uptake of iron without having to overdose or extra dose a comprehensive with your macros and organics. So actually, Flourish Potassium, very, very critically important. There's a long list of biological functions in a plant that potassium supports. And one of the major ones is regulating stomatal activity, the pores on the stems and leaves. Very, very important. And what's really cool about potassium is when it's easily dosed, it supports all those functions. It's amazing the abundant and verdant growth you get on an aquarium. And beginning tanks and the experts alike, potassium is generally never present in enough quantities, which is a shame because something like Flourish Potassium is very, very, very easy to dose. You can put it on auto dosing like our Senta dosers from Aquavitro, or manual dosing. The cap is the doser on the Seachem products, 5 ml cap. So very, very easy dosing. And it's potassium, very, very concentrated, very, very easy to use. So, okay. Flourish Excel is kind of the rock star in the range. I think everybody has heard of Flourish Excel. Years and years ago, this was the first one pioneered, researched, and developed and released to the market in the world. The very first liquid, bioavailable, organic source of carbon. We have a Flourish Trace. And again, trace elements are exactly that. They're trace. You dose it into the water column and either they're utilized or uptaken by the plant or the oxidizer precipitate out rather quickly. So the key with trace elements is you dose them on a regular basis. You can't overdose this. You can't put a whole bunch of it in there because it's going to go out just as quickly. They are trace elements. But all these trace elements, again, provide such an amazing effect for the plant because there's so many biological processes in the plant that are dependent on these traces. So that's kind of the top of the supplementation period, but Flourish Trace. Nitrogen and phosphorus. We have a combination here. We usually will dose these in conjunction with each other, and then these are more specific, mostly for an aquarist who has a layout or a planted setup with no fish, or a very abundantly planted aquarium with minimum fish. So what happens in those cases, and they're using RO water, in an aquarium such as that, obviously you have a closed environment. So over time, nitrogen and phosphorus become depleted out completely. And nitrogen and phosphorus are critically important for plant growth and development, but at low levels. So when those they're called limiting factors. So nitrogen and phosphorus get depleted completely, your plant growth will stop. Even if your lighting is the best lighting in the world, you're doing everything correctly in your supplementation, and your plant growth stops. It's generally attributed to nitrogen and phosphorus. And nitrogen and phosphorus, when you keep a 5-to-1 ratio in the aquarium, pretty much stops algae growth of all types. Because at that ratio, that's the mid part of the general accepted ratio. That ratio, your plants are out competing and uptaking nutrients most efficiently, and algae cannot. And then once the nitrogen and phosphorus start getting out of that ratio, one out of whack compared to the other, that's when you can start having the algae problems. So that is a very, very, very fast blast on the aquatic products. And of course, I think everybody was familiar with Prime one time or another. If you're not using RO water, this would be great for removing chlorine and chloramines. And then when it reduces chloramines, it also detoxifies the ammonia that's created instantly. Very, very important. You can use a 2-time extra dose of Prime, and you can detoxify ammonia in the water column for up to over 48 hours. And what's very unique about the way we detoxify ammonia in Prime is the way we detoxify it still allows for the bacteria of your nitrogen cycle to access and convert forth nitrite, and out. So by the time this bond breaks down in 48 hours, that ammonia is gone, it's consumed. So very, very good. Detoxifies nitrite, removes heavy metals. It encourages a fish to produce their own slime coat or the mucus layer naturally. So there's no extracts or herbal extracts or whatnot in here that aren't native to the water column. So encouraging the fish to produce their slime coat naturally is biologically, physiologically, is the one that actually works for disease resistance, stress mitigation. So very, very concentrated as well. 5 ml cap treats 200 liters. You can liberally use it because it's very, very non-toxic. Use it directed, it's non-toxic, and you'd really, really have to work hard to go out of hand and overdose it. So it's very, very economical. Very, very economical. When you figure out ounce per gallon or milliliter to gallon of usage, it's the least costly on the market. But it's the most concentrated with a lot of features. So that's Prime. Yeah. Remember that. That's the Rockstar Prime. Stability is another Rockstar in the range. Stability is our biological supplement. And then I'll try to shorten it up a little bit, but we researched this for almost 10 years, and we isolated aquatic specific strains of bacteria. They're unlike all the ones that are being used on the market then and today. And then these strains of being aquatic specific are very adaptive to anaerobic or aerobic situations. So very, very, instead of dying off when you have a problem, that was a problem. In the hobby, there's lots of maladies causing your colony of bacteria to die off. When we looked at that, because the products on the market were the strains that are being used in the hobby or being sold in shops aren't aquatic specific, but we found that they did some good to get your aquarium started. Power went out overnight. We had a storm. That was a problem. People aren't necessarily being counseled sometimes on the correct amount of filtration or mechanical filtration they need. Maybe they don't do the water changes like they should. I had a family that all 5 members insisted that they only fed the tank once a day, but it's getting fed 5 times a day. So all these commonly occurring maladies between beginner and expert alike, we found that the colonies were dying off when a problem occurred. So that's why we spent a lot of time in the laboratory to research aquatic strains that are very resilient, very strong. They're going to step to the fore and handle the product instead of dying off. There's a 6-year shelf life and stability. They're good between 0 and 100 degrees Celsius in the bottle, validity. Okay, of course, it's good for cycling a new aquarium or an existing aquarium. We're increasing the amount of fish, plants, or corals, the bioload. And aquariums where we maybe had to use antibiotics of some sort, and it gives a good boost. And there's a maintenance dose on stability as well. But very, very resilient bacteria. It's become very, very popular in a range alongside Prime. Those are the main 2, actually. And Pristine is catching up pretty quick. This is the second stage in biological management. Pristine consumes all that biomass or organic waste, byproducts of the nitrification cycle. So this is an entirely different strain of bacteria than what you find in Stability. It's not just a relabeled product. This will consume that built up biomass, sludge. A lot of times you can see it along the front at the gravel line, that black gunk. Well, that's embedded all the way through. So this is going to help consume out that excess waste buildup in an established aquarium. Now, we still must siphon clean our aquariums, do our water changes, not overfeed, make sure we do all the correct husbandry points. But this helps put that pristine, beautiful, sparkly quality back to your aquarium and help consume out embedded organics. So very, very good. Has a 6-year lifespan as well. And the last product I'm going to talk about, so we can get to the fun part, is Purigen. Has any of you all used this before? Yeah. Yeah, quite amazing. It's a nitrogenous waste scavenging resin. Say that 3 times fast, right? It's a synthetic resin that its only ability is removing organic wastes. So this has no impact on trace elements or supplementation. It's really good. It's the only one on the market that has that balance. It's going to take out the bad, leave in the good. Very amazing. And the capacity of Purigen is remarkable. So this is going to remove out excess fish waste, food waste, proteins, like a poor man's protein skimmer in a way, you could say. Yeah. This little 100 ml pouch treats a 100-gallon aquarium up to 5 months. So anywhere on average, there's 3 to 5 months of efficacy on the product. Most people that don't overfeed a lot or have too much of an overpopulation will really hit that 5 months. And the little white colored beads will turn to a brownish black color when they're exhausted. So yeah, I can tell you. There is instructions in here in the pouch inside that you can actually regenerate it using a household bleach. Soak it for 24 hours, and then after 24 hours, that actually, what it does is oxidizes or burns off the organics that adhere to the surface of the Purigen beads. And then you can reuse it again for up to 8 times. Why we say 8 times? Because you lose about 10% efficacy every time you regenerate it. A lot of people will just throw it away, but if you have a lot of aquariums and you have a lot of usage, it helps on the pocket a little bit. So you can regenerate it. So Purigen, and the most beautiful thing that people will notice is your water, crystalline. I'll walk through the office at Seachem a lot whenever I'm off the road, and you can hear the tech support, our biologists talking to people calling in, and you can hear them. Sometimes it's on the speakerphone. It's like, I'm using Purigen, and it looks like my fish are swimming in air. It's that clear, because if you think, well, my tank's pretty clear now, chuck one of these in your filter and look at it the next morning or the next day, and you're going to like, oh my gosh. But it's quite an amazing product. So Purigen, remember it, of stainless steel tools from the Aquavitro. And Aquavitro is a premium range of Seachem. And then we have also CO2 diffusers and elbows and bubble counters and Sensu dosers. Look up on aquavitro.com on the Sensu doser. It's very, very unique and very, very easy to program and use. It's quite amazing. Okay, there's the chemistry lesson. So a very little touch, just a scratch. If you really want to listen to me drone on and get out of control, you can approach me later after the seminar. I'll be happy to answer any questions I can and get information you need if I don't know it. But generally, most of it I can get to you. But Luis Navarro, Seachem's top aquascaper and a pioneer in the hobby in the USA. And thank you.